If you suffer with pain, stiffness, and restricted motion in your shoulder, this is the video for you, because we're about to go over 2 quick and easy strategies that can help you to eliminate pain and restore mobility to your shoulders. Let's get into this. The shoulder really is an amazing joint. It can move in more directions and has a greater range of motion than any joint in the body. But all of that mobility comes at a great cost. And the bony structure of the joint itself is inherently unstable. What that means is that the shoulder has to rely extensively on a complex of muscles that cross over the joint in order to maintain its health and functionality. One of the things that we commonly find in people with chronic shoulder problems is an imbalance in those muscles crossing over the joint. This leads to instability, which sets the stage for many of the most common shoulder problems in the world. One of the most common muscle imbalances that I find in people with chronic shoulder problems stems from a shortening and tightening of the pectoral muscles here. When this goes on long enough, these people show up at the clinic with shoulders that are pushed way forward like this and or internally rotated like this, where when you look at that person from the front, you're looking at their knuckles and their chest has this closed down appearance. According to the Journal of Shoulder and Elbow Surgery, tightness in the pectorals creates abnormal forces at the shoulder joint, which is more than enough to throw off the stability of the entire shoulder. And so strategy number 1 is to stretch out those pectorals and open up that chest. And we're going to do that using a simple wall stretch. Here's how to get the most bang for your buck with the wall stretch. Start off standing parallel to the wall. You're then going to take the arm that's closest to the wall and elevate it off the side of your body, ideally to a position where it's about horizontal. Notice that my elbow is straight and my palm is facing forward. From here, I'm going to place my palm into contact with the wall and I'm going to go into a split stance, which is like a lunge position. Now, it's critically important that the foot that goes forward is the opposite side of the hand that's on the wall. So in this case, my left foot is forward and firmly planted against the floor. My right foot is back and I'm up on the ball of that foot. My chest is facing forward. Again, I'm going to check in and make sure that my elbow is straight here. From here, I'm going to tense up my abdominal muscles and then I'm going to rotate using the ball of my right foot as my gauge, and I'm going to watch the angle of my belly button go from straight ahead to this direction. And as I create that angulation, making sure that I stay rigid by keeping my abdominal muscles tight, I'm going to feel that tension ramp up across the shoulder joint, across the pectoral muscles, and even into my sternum and maybe down into my bicep. Now, as I hang out here a little bit, that muscle will start to give and I'll rotate that belly button just a teeny bit further. When I get to the edge of my comfort zone where I have a really good stretch, I'm going to hold the stretch for 45 to 90 seconds continuously. When time is up, I'll slowly rotate out. Allow that arm to come back gently to my side, and I'll face the opposite direction and repeat on the opposite shoulder. And for anyone who has difficulty getting into that horizontal position, I've got some great news. The pectoralis major is a huge muscle and it's fan-shaped, so it has fibers that run in lots of different directions. And so it's possible to get a great stretch on that muscle from way down here. And so I find that even with people with significant shoulder dysfunction, they can still do this stretch with a low angulation of the arm. Everything else about the stretch is exactly the same. Start off here, rotate the torso away, hold for that 45 to 90 seconds, and then maybe over time, you can slowly work yourself into higher angles at the arm. But you can start off slowly and begin getting results right away. Now that we've opened up those pectoral muscles, we can really begin restoring balance to the shoulder complex. In order to do that, we need to build up a foundation of strength in the muscles that are responsible for stabilizing the shoulder in all of the positions that it can get into. One of the most important muscles to go after here is the infraspinatus. Weakness and decreased activity in the infraspinatus specifically has been implicated in all different types of shoulder dysfunction. And so we really want that muscle to be strong in lots of different positions. And one of my favorite ways for accomplishing that is with the 3-position isometric external rotation exercise. To perform 3-position isometric external rotation, the only thing that you're going to need is a wall and a folded hand towel. Once you've got that, we're going to go into position number 1. You're going to stand parallel to the wall. You want to be very close but not actually touching, so leave just a little bit of space. From here, arms are hanging comfortably. You're going to get into a nice, tall, upright posture, and you're going to take the arm that's closest to the wall and bend the elbow to 90 degrees with your hand pointing straight out in front of you. You'll then take that folded hand towel and tuck it right in between your elbow and the side of your body. That's going to make sure that the movement that we perform here stays super strict and that you don't recruit accessory muscles. Now, from here, my elbow's about 1 inch off the wall and the backs of my fingers are about 2 inches off the wall. And speaking of the backs of your fingers, that is the only portion of your body that's actually going to come into contact with the wall during this exercise. So, just the backs of my fingers. I'm going to make sure that my wrist stays super rigid. I'm going to make sure that my elbow stays pressed into that towel and the side of my body. And the movement that I'm trying to perform is going from here to here, just rotating that arm outward like this, which of course I can't do because the wall's in the way, but that's the whole point of an isometric. So the wall allows me to press as hard as I can, and that's what you should do. Press as hard as you can, just as long as you're not having any pain. If you start to feel pain, just take it down a couple of notches so that you're at a level that's comfortable for you. And you're just going to press outward continuously for 15 seconds. Working on that infraspinatus, making sure that that elbow stays pressed firmly into the towel the entire time. That makes sure that the activity in that supraspinatus stays really high the entire time. At the end of 15 seconds, you're going to ramp that contraction down, and now we're going to go into position number 2. We're going to take our feet from parallel to the wall here, and we're going to angle them 30 to 45 degrees at the wall. That's going to take our arm from this position, which would be considered neutral at the shoulder, into an internal rotation position. So we're working a different portion of the infraspinatus and a different part of that movement arc. So feet are going to angle inward to the wall, 30 to 45 degrees. Arm comes across the body, again, just fingertips. And now I'm trying to accomplish that exact same motion. External rotation, pushing outward, just the fingertips, making sure that the wrist stays rigid and my elbow stays pressed firmly into that towel. 15 seconds of continuous push. Ramp the contraction down, come back to neutral. Now I'm going to go 30 to 45 degrees away from the wall. Now I'm coming deep into external rotation. Elbow stays pressed firmly into that towel. And again, I'm trying to push outward like this, strengthening a different portion, the end range of external rotation. This puts that infraspinatus in the most shortened, contracted position. And we're just making sure that we're strong across that entire range of motion. 15 seconds of outward push, making sure the wrist stays rigid and the elbow stays pressed into that towel the entire time. At the end of 15 seconds, ramp down, and then you would switch over to the opposite side and repeat all 3 positions on the opposite shoulder. Over time, you would want to build up to the point where you're performing 3 rounds of each of the 3 positions for both shoulders. Thank you so much for watching. Guys, if you like this type of content and you want to see more of it, click that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you're updated every time a new video comes out. And before you head out of here, make sure to leave any pain, posture, or rehab related questions that you have in the comment section down below. This way I can make a future video about it. That's all for this week. See you next time.